Okay, and we're back. I did not realize how long it has been since I was truly a beginner. Not just like learning something new, but actually having to be someone new. And 2 weeks into posting 5 days a week here on YouTube, that has really been my work. So I want to talk through some of the things that I have been learning in this process because I know what it's like to be a beginner again, especially as someone who is very high achieving and then who coaches women who are extremely high achieving, high earning, highly accomplished, and yet scared to do the next big scary thing. And this has been my next big scary thing here on YouTube. So my goal today is to make this a tight 10-minute-ish video. We gonna see. I know I claimed that in front of the video. That was very bold of me to do, but that is the goal that I'm working on. Again, beginner's mindset. We're just testing, we're experimenting, we're learning, we're being different. So I have some notes here that I want to talk through because I want to stay organized. And I think the first thing I want to name is that what makes this really hard when you are trying to do something new. And it could be something like starting a YouTube channel for the first time to spread the word about your work and share more about your insights and your business and to connect with amazing women in the world. But it also could be, you looking for another job or you expressing interest openly with your network about a new industry that you want to dip your toes into. It could be anything, but I think especially when it is public, when it is professional, when it feels like your identity is tied to it, it can be really challenging. And then as you actually enter into the process, I'm hoping I can give you a little peek behind the curtain into like what actually can be confronting and what also will grow you in this process because, I'm competent. I am experienced. I think I'm fairly articulate. I'm used to knowing how things work, especially in the business that I've built. I've gotten, I think, myself into, at least as much as an entrepreneur can, into a little bit of a comfort zone with feeling like, okay, well, I know how things work. Especially I've been spending most of my time in building my business marketing on on Instagram. And yeah, I feel a lot more clear about how things work there, what the rules are, what buttons to push, how do we kind of move with the system and the flow. And over here, it's completely different. And so, I recognize that I am still the same woman. And I think that I hope that you can remember that as a part of your journey or your transitional period, where it's like, I am going to be doing something new. I am going to be somewhat new, but at the core, you're still the same competent, capable woman. So you will figure it out. We just have to prepare our nervous systems and allow this process to humble us. Nothing humbles you like realizing, okay, maybe my old instincts don't work here. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's the point. All right. So let's talk about skill number one. I'm going to call skill number one self-trust without mastery, which is, I think that's triggering. Like to have to embody, to embrace a sense of trusting yourself when you are building a brand new, like you're in the baby steps of building a brand new mastery, it's going to trigger a lot of self-doubt and the urge to over-prepare, to try to activate that perfectionism. You want to over edit. I'm speaking to myself right now. I want to over edit. I want to over control. And that can get us in trouble. But we have to move before we feel ready. And in order to do that, and also in order to learn quickly, you have to kind of get over this part. You have to begin to move through. I can still trust myself. This is actually not a knock against my character or my capacity to be in a moment or a state of newness and, at the beginning. I guess the point here is just reminding ourselves that self-trust has nothing to do with knowing that you can do something perfectly. If you can only trust yourself when you already know what to do, that's not really self-trust, right? Right now, what I have to rely on is that I'm the kind of girl who will keep trying. And I think nothing is showing me more of that aspect of myself and building that more of that self-trust than having committed to showing up 5 days a week and just turning on that camera and going and trying again. And so that's who I'm placing the bet on, not the skills that I should have had before I got here. I'm placing the bet on the kind of woman that I am, the kind of integrity that I want to have, and just how I show up, how I show up, and we can do that too, even as we're figuring things out. Okay, so I'd say skill number 2. Skill number 2 has been about internal regulation, right? Self-regulation in the messy middle of a learning process is a tricky thing to navigate because we are humans. We're not machines. We can't just reprogram ourselves and hit go and have no feels about it. We're going to have the feels. So it has been interesting to watch myself struggle in real time through this experience, to see the mistakes and the inefficiencies, the extreme inefficiencies, the drop-offs, like the moments where things are not connecting because I just don't have any instincts here. I'm literally in week 2. I'm closing out week 2 with this video of developing these instincts. And so it can feel like a lot of emotional labor. I think especially when you're doing something so publicly, when you are showing up in a new kind of visibility. But it's important that you give yourself enough grace not to completely spiral into self-judgment. Again, a lot of this really is about embracing the journey. And I know everybody talks about this. I think this is like such a common entrepreneurial topic. This is such a common self-development topic. This is such a common sort of, I think, self-care topic, about not judging ourselves, giving ourselves grace. But I'm hoping that even in sharing these quick tidbits in this short video, that it's just another strong reminder that you can connect with, like, no, this is actually normal. This is a part of the process. This is a great thing. It can be a good thing. And I'm still at the beginning, but 2 weeks in, it has shown me a lot already. Okay. So the work is not about how fast you improve. It's just the fact that you are in the process of improving, engaging with it, like you're in the arena. Okay. So skill number 3, it's about letting your identity evolve. And I think the word letting, like allowing your identity to actually evolve, is the key word here. So I've had to, in this process, let go of how I am used to being known. I've had a podcast called Ambition Without Compromise for the past 3 years. It has been one of my favorite places to create, which is part of what has inspired me even to show up on YouTube. But I'm known there with a level of confidence, and I have a process and a set of systems. I have a podcast manager and producer who actually creates the episodes for me. All I have to do is, think about my topics, record them, and then send them over, and she handles the rest, and they come out beautifully. It's been a consistent process. I've never missed. My episodes have gone up bi-weekly for 3 years, no misses, and I've been known for that, So not just known for the consistency, but for the quality, for like, it's me sounding like I know what I'm doing, for it looking like, with all the packaging and stuff, that I know what I'm doing. And in order for me to allow this new expression to emerge, like, I can't shrink away from the fact that I have to be open to being different and being perceived differently while I'm in process. And also remembering that this process is a forever process, right? I think it's important to name that. But I'm not abandoning my voice, because the other, I think, thing that can happen is that we will assume that we have to act different. And I have really been talking to myself in this process of showing up on YouTube, understanding that things on having a hook in the first 30 seconds and, telling stories in a really succinct way and learning to use my words differently, that is all really new to me, that those have not had to be my extreme strengths in past mediums, and that doesn't mean I have to shift who I am in order to grow some of those technical skills, some of those structures into, basically pouring who I already naturally am into a new format. So it doesn't mean that we have to abandon ourselves, that our identity is evolving. Like, this is now becoming a new branch of me. I'm still at the core, because that also eats away at anybody's interest in continuing to care about what I have to say, especially in this, content-filled world where everybody has a camera on their phone and can show up. What makes you is, and what makes you interesting, is how honest and connected to yourself that you seem to be. I think that is what people really want to engage with. So becoming a beginner doesn't erase your authority. It's just reshaping it. I just really hope that this is a message that encourages you, because I understand that, as I said, new paths feel scary. They can threaten your identity, your sense of your own capacity and capability, which is really challenging and confronting to deal with. And I also want you to know that you just don't have to have certainty in order to begin. That is the last thing that is going to come, if it ever comes at all, which it won't. And so don't wait for it. You don't need to. I will also just say that you can grow the capacity to cope with the fact that you don't know, that you can tolerate not knowing. You can do this. I'd love to actually hear if you want to share in the comments, or just for you to reflect on this yourself. Like, where is it in your life that you are being a beginner, that you know that you need to be a beginner? Where is it in your work and in your world that is calling you to begin? And where are you then hesitating, maybe because of some of the things that I shared today, to make it happen? Are you holding back because you feel like you need to be excellent immediately? Are you holding back because it feels too challenging to sit with the possibility that people will see that you don't know what you're doing as you're learning what you're doing in public? So I'm still early in this sprint. I am still choosing growth over comfort. I feel very proud about this. And I'm just recognizing that courage is like such a key theme for me right now, but I'm recognizing that courage is not really in the leap itself. I mean, it does take courage to make an initial shift, to make the decision. But what I'm learning, again, doing such an intensive thing over weeks and weeks, I'm going to do 30 videos in this sprint as a start. I'm really enjoying it. I might keep it going at this cadence. But what I'm learning is that it's not in the leap. The courage is really in the staying. It's the continuous coming back and saying, let's try it again tomorrow. Let's see what we can express differently tomorrow. Let's see what we can learn differently tomorrow. And then get to watch how I've grown. And I love how rapidly I've been able to see that process in myself because of how intensive I've made this particular experiment, this leap for myself. Okay, so I hope, as always, that this video serves. Please subscribe. Please subscribe, because I'm going in and I have a lot to offer, and I'm excited to offer it to you. If this spoke to you, please let me know. And otherwise, I will see you on Wednesday.